Hello, my name is Anne. I am Quantum Heart Living. Thank you so much for joining me. Wow. Well, Phoenix Rising are the words I use to describe the energy that is coming in right now. Absolutely power-packed. We're feeling an abundance of energy on two major streams going on here. The first one is really all about rising up, powerfully up into a real sense of understanding, a real sense of mastery, feeling different, knowing that there is this massive evolution and shift taking place. So many of us are feeling it and recognizing it and talking about it and sharing our experiences. It is just super powerful. I know yesterday I wanted to do an update, and I was just enjoying the frequencies, the energies that were coming in. They were very supportive and very kind. Now we get this opposition, and it's not really an opposition. It's just this continued rising of so many in the collective, where we are being shown where we are still looking to clear energy blockages. Now, a lot of people, again, this is an ongoing process depending on sort of when you come in and your own situation. This is a very unique, personal experience. And the blockages, again, there's a lot feeling the physicality of what is happening. So we have sort of one aspect of it where you can see and understand the power of yourself. The enlightened and higher consciousness self is really showing up. There is a huge amount of synchronicities if you stay in that vortex of acceptance, of surrender, of realizing that resistance really is resistance to yourself. So the other aspect of that is the physicality, which kind of juxtaposes this whole experience, because we can feel the aches and pains and various other physical symptoms, quote unquote, as our body adjusts and releases, as our cells are activating in different ways. We are, reprogramming networks. We're working on really trying to keep shifting out of old patterning. So this is, depending on, again, this takes time, and this is, some of this is really deeply ingrained and embedded. Now, I'm getting a sort of a lot coming in on suppression, repression. So people are starting to sort of recognize where some of this patterning has been around for centuries and are coming to real conclusions that, we have for quite a long period of time in mankind seen a lot of suppression going on in various aspects. I know that the physical symptoms are all very different. Depending on where you're at, I think maybe the masculine is getting a lot of higher chakra activations, and the feminine is dealing maybe more with the stability, the support, hips, bladder, hips, really working on core to really stabilize. So to get that stabilization happening within oneself is really super important to really work on getting that physical stabilization in your body. So there's those two major aspects, but it is really, I've said this before, but it's really phenomenal what is happening as we sort of skyrocket into this rising into our own understanding and our own power. What's also coming through for me is coming back to you. So who are you now? I know for the past 3 weeks, I can't believe it's, 3 weeks into January, it feels like so much longer, so much has changed just within myself. But we can see in some cases coming back to being you. So that is a pretty exciting and very enlightening experience in itself. We get sometimes glimpses of this enlightenment, and we know that it's in our vortex. We know that it's part of this process of higher consciousness and enlightenment. So it comes in for our view, and it sometimes, feels like, anyway, it disappears as these other concerning energies and the ego try and take us sort of on our comfort zone rides of, hey, this is the way I've always been, I want to go back over here. But the being you is really kind of cool, because we know that we're not really changing, we're just coming into who we are. And I think more and more of us are experiencing this, coming full circle almost into it's totally okay just to be exactly who you are, as imperfect as you are, as who you are, and being okay with that, and realizing that some of the definition of who you were was a projected image from other people that are showing you that you have taken on. And I've really noticed this in terms of emotional intelligence. So when we get the opportunity to really work on ourselves and to work through all of this very difficult, some people, I've called it crap, like, man, holy shit, this is hard. Like, what the hell? But when we really get these glimpses, these opportunities, when we allow ourselves to really see it, we can see that the emotional intelligence is really powerful right now. And when we see that so much of it is what people have been carrying around in terms of blockages in their childhood and passing this down through the generations. And when we start to really step back from this perspective on self and really see where all of this formation of idea of self comes from, we can start to see that, wait a minute, I'm feeling somebody else's definition of themselves in me. And this may be very true of partners or parents or people that are very, very close in your life. And you start to say, okay, those are traits that I have in me. And so much of it is bringing us back to childhood trauma or childhood programming once again. So if we get trauma early on in childhood, and this may not be huge and significant, this may be something that happened. I mean, parents only can do the best they can do with what they have, and none of us are perfect, that is for sure. But when we get right back to what is this? It is like this childhood. We are sitting in some age group, some age perspective, some emotional age perspective from our childhood. And I'm seeing this even when somebody appears to be a very together and strong, outwardly controlling, not necessarily controlling, but in control adult. What's riding behind some of this can be this subconscious carrying around of this childhood age, this And so much of it is emotional. So much of it is people trying to really understand that we are grown up, we are adults, we are capable of managing our own and understanding our own emotions. Now, when we start to really feel that, when you start to really be able to go, I know where this is coming from, and I know in some cases where I got it from, it's like a weight is taken off your shoulders, really, because it's like, I don't have to carry this. I can recognize it for what it is, and I can move beyond it. I can support that emotional child, but I can support it from a place of intelligence. I don't have to hold all of that against other people. I don't have to have childhood tantrums and anger resulting from all of it. I can just step back and say, well, I'm not that anymore. And I'm now taking back my control and power of my own emotions so that I can use them to my advantage instead of it holding me back. So that's a really big, huge, powerful message that is coming in very, very strongly. And when we can get to that point, we start to release some of this, we can pick up in our bodies where we may have been holding on to that. So there may be certain points that energetically are trying to clear. So we're getting brand new perspectives. Yes, it's bumpy, no question about it. This ride is all over the place right now. The energies are all over the place right now. There is so much variation from person to person, but really the goal is here in the quantum perspective, right? We really have to come back to being in this exact moment and remove the clutter from the mind. There's a lot coming into play to stop us from doing that, but it's really the power of yourself that we need to continue to focus on. Where it is you're moving to, what it is our mission here, and for me personally, when someone says, you can't do that, it's probably when I try even harder. So that's my personality. But if there are energies that are my own old comfort zone energies, and comfort zones aren't necessarily just comfort zones. Comfort zones are what patterns you have become used to, whatever that may be and however that relates in your life. It's not necessarily good or bad. It just is. It's just a pattern that you're used to following. So the more and more we get rising up here, I think what's we're experiencing is this ego trying to go, whoa, I don't know what is going on here. I'm feeling uncomfortable with all of this unknown stuff. So to put it in very much in layman's terms, but it is just trying to bring us back to this sense of safety and security. And that is where this duality might come into play, back and forth between the huge insights and then kind of like, whoa. Now, there's also one final piece here, which is, I think, really interesting, is the art of subtlety. Now, there's so much intriguing about this process because things happen so subtly, yet boldly at the same time. It's like nature itself. Really, there's just so much profound change that is happening. And it just sort of comes up. And you look back on even 3 weeks ago and you go, holy cow. Like, I cannot believe the amount of change that has happened in even just a short period of time. So give yourself some credit here. I mean, really, we have to see how far we have come and to not lose sight of the fact that all of this is really helping us move this new earth to where it needs to be. And we all know that there needs to be this change for ourselves, for the people around us, for the earth, for Gaia. We all feel it because you wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't. Those are my messages that are coming through. I hope this helps. And we will talk soon.